a special half-an-hour edition of Jockless Sports. I'm, of course, joined by my Jockless experts, Mike Albin. How's it going,
Anti-Man.
Good to see you, sir. And Mr. Marcus Campbell.
How are you?
Ryan Pitts could not be here because he's a wuss. All right, we're going to start with one of our favorite topics we like to call the press conference.
Bring it on.
That's right, we're here with our mini press agents out here, and I'd like for all the press to not take pictures till after we're done talking. It's quite distracting.
I need to turn myself off.
You probably
I don't want to interrupt what's going on here.
No distraction. So
sorry about that.
Let's ask our one lone reporter out here, what's the first question on your mind?
Should Mark McGwire get into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot?
See, here's my theory on this. And
Okay.
I think if he does, and I hear a lot of writers are making this excuse, that because there was no testing, there's no way to really know who was and who wasn't, so he should get in because of that. If that's the case, then I think a whole bunch of people from this era should get in. Even the people who have those lower numbers that you might question, I think they should have a better chance of getting in the Hall of Fame because of that reason. Because if these guys have such inflated numbers, the guys who did it cleanly would have lower numbers and you should respect them more. What do you think?
Statistically, Mark McGwire is a shoo-in. I mean,
Yes.
it's automatic. He should be on the first ballot. It's just obviously horrible timing.
Yes. Yes.
And he may kind of maybe take a pass. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plans out. I mean, especially when you're on the same ballot as Cal Ripken,
Right.
Tony Gwynn, the guys who now, they're the wholesome, image, Cal Ripken, and he went to Iron Man, the whole bit. It's unfortunate, it really is. I'd like to still see him get in, just to get it over with and be done with, and just get on with it. Get on with the other baseball life and
Everything
other,
else.
Hall of Fame ballots in the future. Because every ballot that comes out, he's going to be. This is going to be the controversy.
I just want to get it done with.
Yeah,
That's not, get him in the first time, so we don't have to hear about it next year and the year after.
Wouldn't you agree with my theory, though, that if the argument is that too many people took steroids in this era, that when we start getting down to those people in that era that are iffy, you know what I mean, should they get in? Shouldn't they get a bit more leniency because of the fact that this was a steroid era, that maybe they did it clean and they didn't just have the numbers for it? I mean, that's what I think. If we're going to start letting all these people in, like the Bonds in the world, then maybe we should be a little bit more open to the people with lesser numbers.
Sure, yeah. And, I mean, it's not McGuire's fault they weren't testing back then.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he was, that was just the
cheating.
time. But
Yes, it was his fault for the damn
And
Bash
then there's
Brothers
also
thing,
then we could be how all the people who gambled. I mean,
Yes.
and, as far as I'm concerned, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Good point.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson should be in the Hall of Fame. Oh, wait.
No.
O.J. Simpson is in the Hall of Fame. All right, our next question from our brave press corps.
Why does it seem like the NFL gets a free pass when it comes to steroids?
I think there's two reasons for this. The first reason is they've had a testing policy. So the fact that there's been sort of a crime and punishment and that they've self-policed it, there's not as much of an outrage. Also, I think psychologically, people are probably more accepting of football players taking steroids because of the brutality and the violence of the sport. The fact that these guys are getting hit on a constant basis. I'm not saying it's right, but I think the public is more forgiving because they can understand a little bit better why somebody wanted to take performance.
Well, they associate football with the gridiron. These guys are muscled up, they're 300-pound guys anyway. You're right. I think there is more of a leniency in football than there is in any of the other sports. I mean, because you never really hear about steroids with NBA.
Well, well, Sean Marion just got suspended. Nobody's talking about never first balloting him.
But it's exactly like you said. It's because people want to see people get hit harder and harder and harder. But the thing is, a guy on steroids is hitting another guy on steroids.
Right.
So I mean, they're both going to be okay until somebody eventually just rips a head off or something. But
like I said, I think it's a subconscious thing where people realize these guys are beating the hell out of each other, and maybe they need a little bit more. I'm not saying it's right, but I think it's kind of a psychological thing. Whereas baseball, it's like, all they have to do is hit a damn ball. They shouldn't be killing themselves.
At least they have a testing policy too.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball's so up in the air with does it work? How often do we test? I mean,
it seems like with baseball, they target it more of the cheating aspect.
Right.
Because they're taking these steroids, they're
cheating.
cheaters because they can hit the ball, like you said, 550 feet and so on.
But I think if baseball had a policy where they maybe suspended McGwire for a while, suspended Bonds during these periods, I think you're right. I think the public would be more forgiving of these guys and of baseball. I think the public lets sports get away with a lot. But all they ask is that they self-police themselves. And it's only when sports doesn't self-police themselves that we get outraged. I mean, we let people get stumped in the head, and not get arrested. We let hockey players hit them in. So we have a lot of
basketball players run into the stands and fight fans, and they never had any legal problems. They got suspended for a season.
Right, but we're very forgiving as long as the sport in itself self-polices.
And it's entertaining.
And it's entertaining. And it's the Roman gladiators is what it is.
What else are you going to put on SportsCenter?
That's true. Professional wrestling.